Hi everyone, today we're looking at the Cooler Master MasterCase H500, not the H500P or the H500M or the H500M mesh or even the white version, the black version or the grey version or the H500ABC and whatever else you want to come up with. This is the straight H500, so this is basically the entry level H500 model, but it actually, saying it's entry level, it is actually still nearly £100 case. So it's not the cheapest cases, but it does actually also have some features in that some of the other models don't actually have, and the build quality is actually very good compared to some of the other versions of the range. A lot of people compare the H500 to the Haf series from a few years ago due to Cooler Master starting the model with the H and also stating in the documentation that it's high airflow. But personally, I don't see them as a replacement for the Haf cases. The only resemblance is the large fans, and these have got 200mm fans on the front. The Haf series has a very muscular and rugged feel to them and was designed for high airflow and to house 10 billion different hard drives and whatever devices you want to put in there, and they also had removable drawers and everything on it, which the new H500 does not have. It only holds a few hard drives in comparison and looks more sexy and sleek than the muscular and rugged look. This video is sponsored by the Tender Nova. The Nova Mesh Wi-Fi systems from Tender provide better coverage to your whole home. Connect more devices and get the bandwidth you are paying for across your whole home. And Tech for Techs highly recommend this product. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this new H500 case. Again, this is the H500 Cooler Master case, also known as a MasterCase. This is basically one of quite a few versions of the H500, but this is a plain, straight H500, no P's, no I's, no M's, straight H500. So let's have a open up, see what we got. Hopefully it was delivered fine. There we go. Let's open it up. Okay, so obviously the box is pretty much plain brown box with basic information in, unlike the H500P, which was in a nice colourful blue box and looked quite good. But first thing what comes out of the box is a plastic front for the case. So this is where I'm guessing you'll be able to change the front of the case between mesh and an actual plastic front. So that could be quite actually good. So if you're wanting lots of cooling and so forth, you can keep the mesh front on there, which I'm guessing is already fitted, or you can put the, well, it's not glass, it's plastic front on, which will give it a bit more of a sleek, stylish look, but obviously you're going to lose out on your cooling if you do that. So, but it's obviously down to preference, and if you need that extra cooling, in most cases you probably don't. Okay, so let's have a look what else we've got. Let's move the polystyrene. Okay, you've got installation manual with all the bits and bobs, but like most people, I'm not even going to bother reading it. We're going to see how obviously it is out of the box without, see if we can use it without messing about. And there we have it. That's actually quite an attractive looking case, considering it's around about £50 cheaper, or $50 or whatever you want to call it, cheaper than the 500P or the H500P, which was it's sort of the high-end model, which did have a little bit of controversy over it being a little bit plasticky feeling and the airflow not being good. But actually, initial looks of this, it actually looks quite sturdy and looks slightly more like the original, what you would call the original Haf cases or the Haf-x cases from a few years ago than the other models in the range. But as you can see, you've got your mesh front there. So it's got mesh intakes at the side there. That mesh obviously would be then replaced by this plastic front. We'll take some pictures and show you the difference. So depending on how you prefer it to look. These fans are RGB, so you can connect them up to RGB motherboard, or there is a controller inside here apparently. I'm guessing it's the same controller you can pick up for around about £10–15. What Cooler Master sell, and hey presto, you've got an RGB case without needing an RGB controller built on your motherboard. Catches with these controllers, from what I've seen, is you can only alter the settings directly on the controller, and the controller will more than likely be inside the case. So every time you want to change the colours or the settings of the RGB, what do you got to do? Open the case up to do it, unless there's a way to rig it up so it sort of hangs out the back, which is probably not very neat, but it's an option, I suppose. Right, so as you can see, initial looks on the outside, as I said, mesh on the front. On the top it's got a magnetic mesh strip, so you've actually got room there to put more fans. You could put another 200mm fan there. I'd say 240mm fans could go in there instead, or even 3 120mm fans could go on there. You could fit a 240mm radiator across the top, so there's plenty of room there for doing that. You could also fit a 360mm radiator for your water cooler across the front if you wanted to remove the fans there. It does have a nice little handle on this, so you could pick it up. But in all honesty, by the time this thing's loaded up with all your components, especially if you've got a water cooler, it's going to be one hell of a heavy case to lift up by that, but who knows. It does seem very sturdy compared to the H500P. The H500P, you just push it there and it just fall to pieces basically. You could just lift it up and the front would fall off. This extremely sturdy, nothing's popping off where it should, and I'm actually going to probably have to look to see how this opens up. But on the front panel, you've got your power button, which is obviously powers the machine on. It's got the sort of the shape of the Cooler Master logo. It's a white LED light around it. You've also got your hard drive light there, which is also a white LED. It would be nice if they could probably somehow sync that up with the RGB, but hey, it's only a minor thing. Headphone microphone, two USB slots, and that's USB 2, sorry, and then you've got 2 USB 3.0 sockets as well. Would have been nice to see a 3.1 socket on there, but overall not too bad. There is a reset button there as well for people who wish to use it. Side panel, another advantage over the H500P, what we've seen is it screws in 2 places on this rather than being one locking mechanism. So the glass panel, which it is glass, is there, and it does seem to be fit more snugly. It doesn't seem to be actually sticking out as far as the H500P did, so it does actually look a lot better. So that's pretty much the side. On the bottom, it's got a mesh over where your power supply unit would go as well, so, and that'll just pull out and you can obviously clean it if it needs be, and it's got some nice rubber feet on there, and the bottom, the feet sort of represent a bit like the top does where it's sort of ridged, so it does have a nice look to it. Back of the case, as we can see there, looks pretty standard to be honest. It does have room for your vertical GPU, so you can put your graphics card in so the actual fans are facing towards the glass. Some have got RGB on these days, some graphics cards, so it might look good, but bear in mind that has been known to reduce the cooling performance of the actual graphics card due to it not getting enough airflow, but it will make it look nice. Obviously you've got all your slots to put all your other bits and bobs in there, so otherwise it's pretty nice looking. The only thing it doesn't have on there, which not many people use external water coolers, is any holes to put external water cooler connections through or anything like that. The back fan, black only, so there's no RGB on that one, so, but the front ones, as we said, are. On the inside of the case you've got the hard drive caddy, and the shroud what covers up the power supply. The hard drive caddy on this one, you can actually see where the 500P, the shroud goes all the way across, and you can't see the hard drive caddy. Also, you can screw in 2 solid state drives onto the back of the board, but bear in mind, if you need to add more or take them away in the future, you would actually have to take the motherboard out, because the actual screws go through the back of the chassis where the motherboard would be, into the solid state drive. So slight strange design there, but again, we see this quite often with a few actual cases. One or two of the other things we've noticed is the controller, as we said, is internal only, so that means there's no buttons to change the lights or anything, so you really have to set it up how you like it before you put the sides on. Otherwise, if you want to change the colour and make it red only, blue only, whatever, you got to take the side off, press the button again a few times until you get the right selection, which can be a little bit niggly and a bit of a pain. It would have been nice to have maybe a little extension cord you could put out the back of the machine with a button on it. You could just press the button with ease or something along that lines, but it's something for them to do with future models. But again, that comes with this machine. It didn't come with a 500P. You had to rely on an RGB motherboard. With all that being said, it is still actually a very, very, very good case, and I would actually recommend it to quite a few people, and if it's the right price point between their lower end MasterCases like the MasterCase 5 and the 3.1 and the new one we reviewed a few weeks ago, the 510, yeah, I would really recommend this. The one thing I like most about this case is the front panel. If you wish to have it as a high airflow case, you can change the plastic on the front for mesh, or if you wish more of a sleeker, more sexy look, you can have the shiny plastic front panel instead, but obviously that will reduce your airflow quite a bit. I highly recommend this case, and I'll definitely be using them myself for future builds. It definitely looks the part, it performs the part. You can configure it a couple of different ways if you wish. Your cabling is nice and tidy in there. The exception of a couple of little things is you can see the multicolored connections on the end of the audio and the USB 2 connection, but other than that, all the cabling is black. And it would have been nice to be able to control the colour of the lights from the outside of the case rather than having to go inside the case to play about with the controller. If you enjoyed this review, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you would like to see more of our reviews, please go to www.techfortex.co.uk. The link is in the description. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.